support you in what you're doing. Again, besides being on the call, you all are working double time. I know the needs are growing in the state minute by minute, and people, as we know, who maybe used to be your donors, by the end of next week may be your clients or customers. And it is just a rapidly changing forecast, and right off the bat, I want to say we're going to tell you what we know, up-to-date news. Some of you may have even more up-to-date news, so please don't hesitate to inform us of anything that that you know that we don't know yet. Although, as always, the center tries to be the convener and connector of the nonprofit sector. We teach, we train, which means we're trying to inform you of everything that's going on all the time. But most importantly, we're here to support you. So we actually have not even closed our offices yet. We have multiple employees working remotely, of course. At some point in time, we all may be working remotely, but we have, our phones are ringing off the hook, our email boxes are filling up, our text messages are filling up with lots of questions from all of you. So we decided having a call like this was a great place to start. And we do consider this just a start, and we look forward to, at the end of this call, talking about how we want to move forward with everything that's going on. Just a little bit of scoping out how we're going to do the call today. I'm kicking us off and welcoming you. In a few minutes, I'm going to turn it over to my Vice President of Programs, Janetta Cravens, who most of you know, to talk about what we are doing, hear from you about what you need and what you are doing. But then it's going to flip back to me to update you a little bit on the federal and state issues. But we do know that Secretary Copeland, Secretary of Commerce for the state, is going to call into the call at some point in time. So when he is available to call in, because he really wants to talk to you about what's going on from him at the state level, we'll pause whoever else is talking and what's going on when Secretary Copeland has the ability to get on. So just if you all would be patient with us when we tell you, shh, quiet, we're going to listen to Secretary Copeland. With that, thanks again. And Janetta, I'm going to ask you to take over from our programs area.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Marnie. I really would like to just start by listening to what you all are experiencing and hearing what's going on from your corners of the world. So I'd like for you to, so if everybody could use the chat feature first to kind of give us a quick update on what you all are doing. If you don't know where the chat icon is, there's a chat icon at the bottom of the screen. If you'll click on that, that'll pull up the chat feature and you can see it scroll. Just post it to the whole group. Make sure that drop down is selected to everyone. We'd love to hear how things are going. And then, but if there's some of you would like to unmute yourself and just share with us, I don't know that we have time for all 120 that are on the call right now, but definitely want to give everybody an opportunity for those who would like to just kind of chime in and let us know what's happening with your area or just what's on your mind this morning. I think that would give us a sense of kind of what's the pulse of the sector right now. So feel free to use that group chat or unmute yourself and share with us. Is there somebody who would like to?
Janetta, they can also raise their hand. There's a raised hand.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can also raise your hand and we can call on you.
We have more than 100 people, so we would like, please speak up. And I know that's hard. And we may be looking at doing some surveying going forward, but we really would like to get a kind of a verbal pulse right now of actions you're taking, struggles you're having, and hear from you.
Yeah, thank you. So Corey with OICA is texting everybody that he wants to see where we are and what the best practices are going forward. So that's really helpful. That's great. If anyone would like, would anyone like to share with us vocally or visually where what's going on? Thank you all for everyone who's chiming in on the chat. I encourage everybody to follow that chat as people are writing in. That helps us see what's happening.
Janetta?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Dan Scheidel up in Enid.
Hey, Dan. Good to hear your voice.
Good morning.
Morning.
Really quickly share what we've done with United Way. We've worked with a number of our folks in the community, trying to pull together everyone so that we're all on the same page, talking from the same book and singing from the same hymnal. So we've got the city, the Department of Health, the hospitals, the Sheriff's Department, emergency management, and others that are around the table. And of course, we are practicing social distancing of 6 feet or more, which is very interesting in itself. But we're just trying to, keep the hysteria down and work with everyone in the community. The Enid Public School System is also working on lunches and having a drive-through where the families can pick up their lunches or breakfast. They're also looking at adding some additional locations. So, it's just everyone is looking at shutting things down. The city has just drafted a emergency proclamation and has put that out. So I've talked to a number of business owners and banks. Bank lobbies are closing, but the drive-thrus are open. Restaurants are going to move towards a self-imposed kind of quarantine, and we'll have drive out, carry out. We've got a meeting this afternoon to talk about the homeless shelters because we've got 3 or 4 of them in the community, and a lot of folks are concerned about them. We meet the standing meeting every Monday at 3 p.m. With a small group. It's less than 10. We don't want to add too many people in the room. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Thank you for bringing us that word from Enid. Appreciate you, Dan.
Yeah.
We're hearing a lot of, we are hearing a lot of chatter from the sector about the specific ways that people are accommodating, providing their services so that they can maintain compliance with the CDC recommendation. So for example, there was an organization in Tulsa yesterday that did their feeding for their homeless at just allowing 50 people in the room at a time so that they could accommodate the regulations, but also still provide services. And I think some of them are preparing to go to takeout options if that's where this goes. What I love about this sector is that there's always so much creativity around how to serve, and which is really needed right now, because we know that if we don't provide some of those valuable resources, that will have other consequences in our sector and create other social problems, which we want to obviously do our part to help avoid. So thank you for that. So is there anyone else who would like to chime in and let us?
HR, but just keep your board informed. I hope you are. That could be emergency meetings. It could be chats like this. It could be emails to get stuff in writing. But if we teach to get permission, not have to ask for forgiveness. In times like this, we may have to ask for forgiveness for a few things, but I would really just say, don't forget you have policies, you have a board, and to keep them apprised and keep them involved in the conversation. They are here to support organizations all the time, but I will tell you, in times of crisis, it's been proven through every board source study there ever is that boards lift up their activity, boards lift up their support. And so I would encourage you all to take advantage of that. And if you need to talk to anybody here about ways to do that or struggles you might be having, we will be able, we take your emails and helpline calls. I'm looking at my clock. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about a little bit about is fundraising. We are going to put a white paper on our website about some of the things to think about during this time around fundraising. Janetta mentioned the events, and I mean, that's been just the clatter all week because suddenly people are realizing they have to cancel or postpone their events. Certainly those of you who have a lot of night of or event of fundraising with auctions and all the paddle things and everything where you earn a lot, you really want to have your event sometime because that you need that money that's earned in that room. So it looks like most of you seem to be postponing those events, and just keep abreast of it because we don't know how long this is going to how long we're going to be under this kind of cloud. I would say that those of you who are United Way agencies work with your United Ways, because you often have blackout times, and I heard some chatter about that yesterday. So whether that will still be enforced by your United Ways, but if that is true, it just means everybody else is going to be jamming into 2 or 3 weeks to do things. So the importance of using our calendar, if you're a food-based feeding nonprofit, you maybe can't avoid everybody else's event, but don't have it on the same day or night as another food feeding nonprofit. That would be my advice. If you're animal welfare, stay away from other animal welfare things, because those sometimes you have very similar donors. I would also say do everything, just like with your board, do everything you can right now to be in touch with your funders. We're going to write, we're forwarding, even forward the funders our emails just to show them what's going on in the sector, because we don't have your funders necessarily or your board members on our email list. They're mostly coming into someone within your organization. So that's the thing I've been doing to keep my board and my funders informed. We're doing a specific letter right now from the center to our funders. And I know most of you have heard, or many of you have heard from your funders about, some foundations are taking off grant restrictions and saying, the grant was for that, but go use it for that. But I mean, obviously get there again, err to getting permission, not asking for forgiveness. But I think we have a very, very in tune, generous, tied into us. When we have pain, our funders feel our pain. And everything I've seen thus far is that they are really willing to work with all of you in our sector during this time. So just remember to your donors and your board members are really essential partners to you. So,
yeah, I want to chime in on that, because the relationships that you all have with your funders, they trust you too. They are your best allies in this. So, we had a text, or one of the chat came through, like, how far should they postpone? Should they be putting something off even through June? And really, we don't know right now. So I think that's a good conversation to have with your board and with your funders. I know organizations that are really just taking this a week at a time, even, just kind of even a day at a time, but, certainly a couple of weeks at a time, and just telling people we're going to hold for now. Like if it's a June event, I know organizations that are saying we're just going to kind of keep it on the calendar for now. And if we need to move it, we will, but we won't make that call at this moment. And obviously that's a hope that this is going to resolve itself within a couple of weeks, but we don't know. And so if it does extend longer than that, I think just being ready and having steady conversations with your board and funders now will help you be ready to make those decisions when they come. I wish we did know more about that. But since we don't know more, I also want to share with you that, so we have a lot of employees right now that are working from home and maybe have more time on our hands. I know our team's going to be using some of this time to get caught up on some of the work that always needs to be done, but just never seems to kind of get tackled. So we have some available webinars on our online on our website. That's our online catalog. We've got about 60 or 70 or so webinars that we've just recorded over the years, and they're available. So Jamie has already posted that link, but I might encourage you all to use that as a way to encourage your own board or staff to catch up on some of the information that you would like for them to know as a manager. So just know that that's available. That's available there. And I think we were talking about extending that to be free through April 15th. I'm seeing Kim's head nod. Yeah. So we're going to make all of those online webinars free and at least through April 15th. Hopefully that'll help our sector out in a little way. So, good. There it is again. Thank you for posting that again, Jamie. Great.
Yeah, I was on a call this week, and a nonprofit executive said that she made a list of 30 things her employees could do while they were working from home. Sounds like a list I would leave for my children when I left the house or my husband, and it wouldn't get done. But it just was a reminder to us that it really is a great opportunity when people have extra time, and or reading periodicals they don't you get to read, taking home, sector specific books and educational pieces. But we want to be your partner in that. And we have a lot of great resources that I hope you're using anyway. But if this is an opportunity to use them for free and you don't have to worry about your employees having a credit card to pay for a training or a webinar we have, please take advantage of that through, what'd you say, April 15th, Janetta?
Yeah,
April 15th.
Yeah, and I know a lot of nonprofit organizations are concerned, especially for those non-exempt employees. So how can they help their employees who are hourly do things that can still justify, kind of still work on being able to pay them? And that might be, so these are some ideas that may be possible for organizations that want to help their employees stay employed during this time.
I want to clarify that those will be free to members.
Okay.
Member organizations.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you.
Do you want me to fill in a little bit about the national scene while we're waiting?
I think that would be great since we've got a few minutes.
We still want, if you have other questions that you want to vocalize.
Well, let me just say that for those who may be having to jump off at 10:30, that we are going to aim to do this at least once a week. We're going to have some time at the end of this call to talk about if it needs to be more frequent than that. But just look for us to be consistent with every Wednesday at 10 a.m. You can use this link that you used today to jump on this call and be a part of the conversation. So just want to say, yeah.
We also may want to point out that it's the same. You may have just said that the same exact link.
Yeah, it's the same exact link.
Yeah.
Okay, Marnie. Yeah. Bring us up to date on the second.
Okay. And again, we may be hearing from.
Yeah, he's dialing in now.
Oh, the governor's dialing in now. And
great.
Is he just so?
I think he's just calling.
I am
in.
terrible on technology, so someone in my
We'll look for him to arrive. He
look
hasn't.
for him to arrive.
Yeah. There we go.
So any of you that are wondering if he's going to see your face, it sounds like he's just dialing it. All right. So, Janetta, you will see this. Is that what you're telling me?
He's on.
He's on.
I think he is. Yeah.
Yep. Governor Stitt?
Yeah, this is Kevin Stitt. I'm on.
Hey, Governor, this is Marnie Taylor. I can't thank you enough for being willing to do this on such very short notice. I think we have at least 100 nonprofit professionals,
145.
145 nonprofit professionals on this webinar and call. And we really appreciate you maybe giving us an update from the state about things that are going on that we might need to know about. I don't know that we'll have time for a lot of Q&A with you, but we'll see how that goes. So Governor, whatever you would like to share with this great nonprofit sector, we're delighted to have you.
Yes, well, thank you so much, and it's an honor to be on with all of you. And first off, I just want to thank the nonprofit sector. We're going to need you more than ever. Over the next, 15 days, the next several months, the next 6 months potentially, as there's a lot of hurting folks and a lot of people that are going to be affected from this economic downturn. So, just to give you a quick update, so I've been in constant contact with the CDC, the president and his administration, and the health folks on a national level, then obviously the State Department of Health. A couple of points from the federal level. Number one, they're encouraging the states to really ramp up and try to get our universities to focus on some testing locally. And so I know our universities are trying to develop some testing here locally, and that's approved to be able to handle testing in our state. So I know we're starting to work on that. It's going to be a while before that comes online. So in the meantime, the feds have also put other resources and funding nationally into getting more of the test kits out to all the states. And that's probably the biggest complaint that we have right now from the health department is getting all the test kits that we need. We've approved 3 different private companies to do testing. We're trying to set up 68 different test sites around the state through our health department, so our folks we can alleviate kind of that demand on our hospitals. So the process right now is if somebody feels sick or has what they think are some symptoms, we're asking them to call the call center where it's manned 24/7, or their health provider. But the call center at the health department is 877-215-8336. That number is 877-215-8336. And then they'll go through some questions, kind of a telemedicine screening, and then if needed, they'll direct you to a testing site. We do have test kits in our state, but I've been working with the federal delegation and trying to put pressure to get more into our state so we can continue to have the supply that we need and just to be prepared. The other thing that the president specifically wanted me to let Oklahomans know is the supply chain will not be disrupted. He's met with the manufacturers, the distributors, the big box stores, and there's no need for us to store up on food. They will, the supply chain will not be disrupted. So that was good news. On my call with the Grocery Association, as we're trying to innovate and think of creative ways to keep our public safe, one of the ideas that we have and that they're going to implement is opening up our grocery stores an hour early for our elderly and vulnerable population right after kind of a deep cleaning to give them the ability to go shopping without the general public there. So that's something that the grocery stores are working to roll out right now. FEMA is available and is propping up some mobile test sites. So we've contacted them, and we'll be getting those into our state and then rolling those out in Tulsa and in Oklahoma City. As you know, that on Sunday night I declared an emergency for a couple reasons. First, to free up the federal dollars to relax some regulations. It also allows my small businesses to apply for some help that they need. I was just on the phone with the Banking Association before I dropped to jump on with you folks as we were giving them an update on how they are going to treat folks that are having trouble with some payments. And so we're trying to work with our banking department here and all of our banks across the state to deal with folks that are struggling, especially the restaurants, the hotels, and some of the hospitality or you know forward-facing businesses. The other reason for the emergency was cutting red tape for our hospitals and our healthcare providers. So by suspending some of the rules, it allows them their flexibility to use more of the hospital to plan for additional ICU beds if needed. And so I want you to know that we're working on all those surge plans and all of the emergency plans in our state if we needed more access to critical care beds. The other, as you know, more pertinent to this group is probably the school closure. So we closed the schools for 2 weeks after spring break, so that'll be through April 6th. And the idea, obviously, and this is CDC guidelines, is to keep the people from getting in groups of larger than 10 or more, just to try to flatten that curve. The idea, as they've looked at Italy and some of the outbreaks in some other countries, this next 2 weeks is critical to flatten the curve so it doesn't overwhelm our hospitals in about 3 weeks from now. So that's the idea. But with closing the schools, we understand there's a lot of other unintended consequences, like the lunch programs and some of the meal plans that some of the kids rely on to eat. So we've got a lot of nonprofits focused on that, working with their local school districts to see how they can help. The USDA, we spoke with them, and they've relaxed some guidelines to allow our cafeteria workers, even though school's not in session, to be able to provide some meals. So that's something that I'd love the nonprofits to work with your local school districts to see where you can help there. We've also encouraged at-risk population over 60 or people with compromised health issues to not travel by air. And I've also encouraged our state agencies and all the businesses to look at ways to telecommute, to separate maybe cubicles in their office, to have a little bit more social distancing. I have not mandated the closure of any business. I have not mandated the closure of restaurants or bars. The recommendation from the CDC is just to avoid groups of 10 or more over the next 15 days. So that's the recommendation, and that's my recommendation to all of our municipalities, our bars, our restaurants. Hey, let's be innovative. Let's be creative. Let's do takeout service. Let's do curbside service. Let's avoid in big groups. But I know some mayors are banning bars and restaurants, and I'm going to leave that up to the local decision. But I do think we should innovate, and my heart really is breaking for the employees and the Oklahoma worker that are going to be laid off and affected by this. So I'm working with the unemployment department here in our state to waive some of the 1-week requirements, delays, and getting people unemployment benefits as they're affected through this crisis. But I want the businesses to know that I just really want them to innovate and think about spreading out and thinking about how they can keep the folks safe as they're still as we're still delivering services to our state. So I do not want us to think about totally shutting down our life. We just have to take these guidance by the CDC seriously and make sure that we, for the next 15 days, really try to limit the exposure of groups of 10 or more. So that's kind of the update from me, and I can open it up to questions, Marnie, if anybody has any questions specifically for me.
Great. Governor, I just want to thank you so much. And I do want to, this is a great opportunity for you to ask the governor a question. But one plug I do want to put in, and I think Secretary Copeland is on right now, but the nonprofit sector actually employs 40% more people than the oil and gas industry. So I think people don't think of us as a big employment sector, but nationally, we're 10% of the employees in the United States. In Oklahoma, it's probably closer to 7%. So anything that you're doing, sometimes on the federal level, the sector's been left out of, help that other small businesses get. So I really just want to stress to you to remember that we, just like those restaurants, our nonprofits are in the position that we may have to not lay off workers, or we may, so to anything you're doing to help small businesses, we could just ask that nonprofits be recognized as small, medium, and some very large size businesses in Oklahoma.
Oh, absolutely. We'll keep that in mind. The federal update, I had a call yesterday with our federal delegation, Senator Langford and Senator Inhofe, and they're working through some stimulus bills. The president has pushed for the $850 billion relief package, and there's another one working its way through. And so Congressman Cole and Congressman Horn wanted me to let them know, what does Oklahoma need? Where are Oklahoma businesses hurting? So we're taking notes here to make sure that we get some of that in the stimulus bill as well. But one of the things, that's been floated out there is President Trump talked about sending a check to every American, $1,000 check. That's not the only idea, because what happens next month, Senator Langford pointed out that, it's really helping the small business stay afloat. And so the airlines, the hotels, those folks are really, really hurting. So they're working on all those different aspects. The unemployment fund, we are the 6th most solvent unemployment fund in the nation. So I'm really proud of that. So we're currently shock testing that to see how that's going to affect if we have different rates of unemployment for an extended period of time as we get benefits out to Oklahoma workers. That one of the pieces of the stimulus bill is to replenish some states that have been hit in their unemployment fund. So that should be something that will help us as well. So
great.
Copeland, if Sean Copeland's on the phone now, he has an update for how the SBA loan works in all the different counties, and give us an update on that.
Great. Governor.
Yes, I am on.
Okay. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Thanks, Governor. So, guys, let me give you the scoop on SBA, because this does apply to nonprofits as well as for-profits. So, the SBA Disaster Recovery Program, as it sits, I know there are additional ideas being discussed, but what we know that we have now is up to $2 million per business, rates are $375 for for-profit businesses, $275 for nonprofits, up to 30-year loans. It can be used for really operating expenses. It can't be used for any kind of additional capital or profitability, but just for your base expenses to kind of keep everybody going. And here is the latest with Oklahoma. We applied for this 4 or 5 days ago, and we have been slow getting on the website, but that is not the end of the world. And the reason is because Mark Gower, with our emergency response unit, his team had great thinking, and we stood up a site called damage.ok.gov. The reason that was important is we pushed as many businesses and nonprofits to go to this site and enter their information and their financial loss, and we had great response. And so when we go live on SBA, and I'm going to give you the link to SBA in just a moment, but when we go live with SBA, we will surpass everybody. We're going to have 24 counties that are already deemed eligible for the disaster recovery program. And we've been told by SBA that all of the contiguous counties around these 24 are also deemed eligible. So we have 64 counties as of today that are deemed eligible, and no one else is even close to that. So we will be in great shape once they go live. And I thought what I would do is let me give you the link for your nonprofits to go apply for this funding, and then I'll give you a list of the counties real quick so you know which ones have already been approved. The link is www.sba.gov.gov/funding-disaster-assistance. I'm going to read that again, but the reason I give you this link is it is super hard to find on the SBA site.
Sean,
So you have to
do give it again, and then we'll make sure we send it
Yeah,
out
we're
too.
gonna
But
put it
go
in
ahead
the
and
chat.
give it again one more time.
We'll post it.
Okay, sounds good. www.sba.gov/funding-programs with an S /disaster-assistance.
That's great.
So that will get you in the site. The nonprofits can actually go ahead and go to the SBA site and get registered now so that you have a username and a password. And then when Oklahoma goes live, which believe me, we'll let you know the second that happens, everybody will know. When we go live, you can go ahead and jump in and do the application and don't have to worry about registering. The counties, and I'll run through these real quick because I know it will just really apply that if it's your county. Here are the counties that are already approved: Greer, Grant, Logan, Oklahoma, Canadian, Grady, McLean, Stevens, Carter, Murray, Payne, Lincoln, Pawnee, Osage, Tulsa, Rogers, Wagner, Okmulgee, Muskogee, Sequoia, Pittsburgh, Pushmataha, Choctaw, and Delaware. And if your county touches any of those counties, you will be eligible as well. So we are good to go. Oklahoma is ready. We are just waiting for them to put us live on the site, and I've got every human being in the country calling them to try to get them to prioritize Oklahoma. The other thing that I would mention, the one question I'm trying to get an answer to, we know that nonprofits are eligible. The only thing I don't know is whether or not churches are eligible or not. That was asked on an earlier call that the governor and I were on together, and I don't know. I've asked that question, but I have not gotten an answer back, but I'll let Marnie and Christy know, and they can share that out as well. Real quick, Marnie, just on a couple of other items that I think would be interesting to everybody. So OESC, our Oklahoma Employment Security Commission, is obviously who handles our unemployment insurance claims. And we have really staffed up there. We have excellent leadership in that agency. And so what we need is for employees, they're going to get expedited when they apply. But if they are unemployed, they just need to go to oesc.ok.gov to file their unemployment claim. If they have questions, they can call 800-555-1554. And we are cutting through all red tape and trying to make it as quick as possible. The good news is we have one of the strongest unemployment trust funds in the country. I think we're number 6. We have $1.3 billion in that trust fund. So thank the good Lord for that. They are adding an extra question to all the unemployment claims that says, were you displaced due to COVID-19? That way we can take advantage of any future federal programs that might come out for those employees. They're adding an 8-week return to work date on the application, so the claimant doesn't have to seek work at this time to receive benefits. They'll just get benefits immediately. We have a mass claim program. If an employer has over 25 employees, which would expedite the process, they can just send us a spreadsheet to make it faster. And anyway, they are absolutely on point. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention real quick is we still have over 80,000 open jobs in Oklahoma. And we are encouraging people, if they are unemployed, to download our app, which is OK Job Match. It's all one word, OK, JOBMATCH. It's super easy to use, but basically the individuals that impacted can just put in their zip code, what kind of radius they want to look, up to 200 miles, and what kind of job they're looking for, and it will pop up available jobs. Right now, I just checked it this morning, and there are still tons and tons of jobs out there, and we do have certain employers who are still adding, even though we know there are going to be a lot of layoffs. So I just wanted to mention those things, Marnie, and I too would be happy to answer any questions.
Great. And one real quick question. There are some questions popping up about the census, but everything we know right now is the census is still going to be on time, and of course, we all have eventually till July 31st to fill it out, but we're hoping to upload. So, and Department of Commerce, I think most of you know, is the agency in charge of the census.
Yes. Yeah, we have not been told of any changes to the timing on the census.
Okay, great. And so remember, in the midst of all this, to get people while they're sitting at home to do that, because that will tie us into a lot of federal funding moving forward. So, all right, questions for Secretary Copeland, and I don't know if the governor has been able to stay on or not.
Marnie, I might just mention one more contact number. In Oklahoma Department of Commerce, we have a central contact if someone has questions about this loan program, this SBA loan program, and his name is Ray Little. And his number, a direct line, is 405-815-6552. And you guys are also welcome. I'll give you my cell number. If you need me for any reason, you're also welcome to give me a call. And it's 918-740-4440. And we just got off a call with all of the community bankers around the state of Oklahoma. And I also just want to mention there has been a guidance given to banks from the national and state regulators that basically say, work with your clients. You're not going to have any negative repercussions if you do interest only or defer payments or, help them out during this time. So I would also encourage, any of you or anyone you know that is struggling to definitely go to their bank, because we have flexibility now that we wouldn't normally have. Normally, the regulators would give us a hard time if we get too flexible, but during this time, they are saying that is not the case. So I'd be happy to take any other questions before I jump off.
He's a great resource, everyone, so please feel free.
Okay, I must have done my job, Marnie.
Hey, Secretary Copeland, thank you for such a quick response today. Thank the governor when you see him again. I assume he's off the call. And we sing your praises everywhere for this new administration's support of our sector in ways we did not have before. So thank you. And my computer died, just so you know, because I never take it remotely. So I'm now on somebody else's computer. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
So Janetta, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I apologize. I jumped on Christy's computer, but I'll just say real quickly that we are working very closely with Senator Langford's office. The resources were sent over today that we linked. A couple things that there is going to be, we hope the stimulus bill passed at the federal level today, but we're already working on a second stimulus bill. And that bill could include things maybe like the universal deduction that we have been working on with Senator Langford for a long time, since the Tax Jobs and Tax Act passed several years ago and was kind of a deterrent to charitable giving. We're also, again, as I mentioned to the governor, I hope you all heard that plug, to make sure that we're treated just like every other business in Oklahoma is treated. And so we're working on that at the federal level as well. So that's kind of the update, but we just look to us again. You all some of you may have relationships with our federal delegation, but we're working closely with them to, and we'll keep you apprised of everything we know.
That's great. Marnie, this has been really, really wonderful. I'm conscious of people's time, and I realize we're up just about at the top of the hour. Really good resources and information has been shared today already. But I really want us to have an opportunity for us to listen to other things that those who are on the call need from us. So if there are subjects, topics, ideas that we could be working on in the next couple of days, you would maybe take a moment and just chat, put that in the chat. We'll have a record of that, and we'll use that to help us get the other information out that we need to. And I'm going to put my my contact information, and I'm doing this right now as I talk. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat, so that if ideas come to you in the next couple of days or weeks, please just be in touch with me directly. And we can also just help organizations think through and be available for the items that come up to you just moment by moment. So please reach out to the center and us if there are ways that we can be specifically helpful for you right now. Oh,
I was just going to.
Go ahead, Kim.
I was just going to say, while people are thinking about their questions, we will go through that chat very carefully and try to come up with responses to some of that. And more than likely, it'll be online, something that you can download. So, for example, when Allison was mentioning HR or some of the other topics that have come up around volunteers and things, we'll try to address those each by each.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And yes, and also just a reminder that this will be a weekly call. So next Wednesday at 10 a.m., use the same link that you used today to get on the call. Feel free to share that link with your colleagues or other staff members, your board members. Is anyone that you would like to be a part of this ongoing conversation? I think while we're in a season where things change so quickly and resources are becoming more available for our sector, and we need to be, and we need to understand what those are. We want us to be able to use this space to help us stay connected around some of those ideas. So please use this link and join us next week. And if there are other things that come up between now and then, let us know, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. Thank you. Are there other, oh good, Jamie just posted in the link the whole meeting ID, so you can copy and paste that and share that with anyone in your organization that you'd like to join you on this call, or colleagues in the field that you'd like to let know that this is available.
Oh, okay, Janetta, we just heard that the mayor's call in Tulsa is every Wednesday. Or daily call is at what time?
10:30.
At 10:30. So we may adjust our time a little bit because some people might be involved in that call as well. So just watch our communication out to you.
Oh, good. Okay.
And I know when we're on a call with 150 people, it's hard to, speak up and ask questions, but Janetta assured me that this chat would not be distracting, and it wasn't. It really just gave us a lot of good information to get to hear from a lot of you at the same time. And as Kim said, we will really do our best to answer those questions and find the resources. We'll certainly get out everything that Secretary Copeland and the governor just shared with us around telephone numbers and websites, and get that out, because he read. I thought I had most of those counties written down, but I know I missed a couple.
All right. Great. Well, Marnie, I think if there's nothing else, and I don't see more information coming through in the chat right now, well, there are a few. Oh yeah, so there's a question about a central calendar for dates for nonprofit fundraisers. Yes, there is. We're using our event calendar page on our website for that purpose. So Jamie, if you wouldn't mind reposting the link to that forms that people can use, that we're doing it by forms, that we make sure that we capture all the right information when we put that on the event calendar link. So Jamie, if you wouldn't mind reposting the link to that information, you can use our calendar, our event calendar space to schedule the rescheduling of your events.
Right.
And then one question here from Jessica, did she hear correctly that the SBA application will go live date has not been announced yet?
Yes, that's what I heard.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah, it sounded like, since obviously this is not only going to pertain to our sector, but so many other for-profit business sectors, that we will, that'll probably be in the news. It sounded like it would be a very public announcement that that's live. But I love the fact we got a little scoop on it, that we can all go on and set up your profile now. So, I'm sure once it goes live, there'll be so many people trying to set up their profile. So if you go on and set up your profile now, and then you have that need, when it goes live, you can just put your need, your request right in. Also, Christy just asked me if anyone wants the chat transcript. You can email Christy. Janetta, does that sound okay for you?
Yeah, we'll get it out to people. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. And again, all of our information is always on our website to how to contact us directly. And, if Secretary Copeland can give you a cell number, I'm happy to give you mine as well. I think I know it's on my business card, but it is 405-831-2131. Again, 405-831-2131. So I think many of you have it anyway, because I get to hear from many of you. And again, a call or text is great. And we have a very talented team here who can answer. I mean, we're very deep in people who are experts in this field. So I may pass you off to someone else who might be more equipped to answer your question, but we just really want to reinforce during this time that we are here to inform and support and convene you.
Yeah, that's right. I want to say thank you to everybody who took time out of their day to be a part of this conversation. one of those where it's unfortunate that a really a community emergency brought us all together, but it's nice to feel the power of our sector and what we can do when we combine our resources, our thoughts, and our creativity to work together to solve problems. And that is what we do every day. And it was just really good for me, and I hope you all felt that too, to just have a little moment today where we could feel the strength of our sector, especially in a time of great challenge. So thank you everybody for being here today and for being a part of this. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next week.
And we'll tell you what time. Okay.
Whenever it is. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Well, for a first try.
Great. Let's end the meeting for everybody. Great. There we go. Great. Well, I'm going to stop the recording.